What a bullshit day. Well, at least we fell back below, or fell back to Gamma Max. Fubo, I think Fubo still looks pretty good. I mean, I really like that it's above 3. But even more than that, I like that it's held above 325. Be careful with 50; it could reject. Please remind everyone that this breakdown not going below 4,500 is bullish. Yeah, we haven't even broken through the JPM collar yet. This isn't bearish at all. This is mostly just a mean reversion at the end of the day, right? Because we were so blown out. Siri to 7 tomorrow? Maybe. Yeah, we might see more covering on Siri tomorrow. I don't know if 7, but maybe like 550. It's a 10% move, right? Stress continues its uptrends. I like that. Yeah, it's been doing well. I'm pretty happy. I'm back above my cost basis, which is awesome. Makes holding it a lot easier. I'm hoping after they get their price back up that they'll start to do some share issuance and open up the float a little bit more and encourage an options chain to open up. Ding ding. Yep. Oh, where does today leave us? I mean, roughly at Gamma Max on the weekly side of the chain, a little bit above kind of the peak of our upside range here. And that that kind of took some squeezing, right? We've got 45 was our Gamma Max going into today. It's probably moved up a little, but maybe not a lot. Last week we were in a similar situation where we kind of pushed through Gamma Max like down here, right? And then Gamma Max rose up over the next 2 days, so we got to here, right? But after we tested and broke Gamma Max, there's very little upside price movement, and so we're kind of in that same situation again. We've squeezed out all the calls that were kind of nestling in the JPM collars upside range, and now to squeeze out additional calls, we really need to go like up above 4,600. There's really not a lot left there, and so this range is going to be really tricky for bulls. There's not going to be a lot of liquidity. There's going to be nothing to squeeze, so they're either going to have to sell the shit out of VIX, which they tried to do at the end of today to no avail, or they're going to have to let the market fall and convince call sellers to come back in, and that probably won't happen in any significant way till after Nvidia's earnings. The futures drop is kind of holding up after market close a little bit here. A failure here back down under 35 level will matter, but we're out of this trading range, so this is gonna get adjusted in tonight's DD. I know it's been a while. We've been stuck in this range for a week, but yeah, this is pretty good confirmation that we're now in a higher range. So we're gonna be looking at 45.75 on the bull side, 45.50 on the bear side, right? And our neutral range is gonna kind of be set in that $25 period there. Dixie down 32 basis points today. Yields also down at the top end of the curve pretty substantially after the auction. We saw yields tank pretty hard. Correlation, however, on both the 3-month has flattened out, and correlation on the 1-month has turned up, which could mean that we're seeing reduced demand and volatility in equities, and we're seeing increased demand and volatility on SPX. So we'll see how that plays out. But we did see a skew kind of spike at the end of last week, and as this comes down and correlation comes up as far as volatility is concerned, that's pretty bearish, right? That's usually going to lead to equities dropping because volatility is going to increase. So we already see some taking advantage of that really cheap pricing of tail risk hedging. Bond vol looks like it's up today, and that may be some of what's pressuring correlation. They did manage to get convexity of volatility down a little bit, but they didn't make any super substantial changes to the yield curve, right? So this may be kind of the low here. It's only recently pushed down to more extreme levels briefly, right? So that negative 10% forward yield seems to be about where it kind of gets hung up. So I'll be watching that. VIX, so today pushed correlation between futures and spot even further than last week. We're now almost negative 11%. So that's getting pretty blown out too. Although volatility, so VVIX correlation fell today, and that's kind of interesting too. So when VIX futures become less correlated with the volatility on VIX. VIX tends to rise a bit. Do you see 45.50 before December 15th, or should I cut those puts? I don't think 45.50 is out of the question, but you need to do something to manage them, right? They're kind of right on the fringe of price action. I mean, for all we know, this could start to collapse tonight, right? Or over the next couple days with the FOMC minutes and NVIDIA earnings. So I still think there's a good, like, I'm still holding 4,500 puts. I'm still holding some 45.50 puts. Mine aren't even as far out as yours, but I'm also, I'm trying to hedge off that risk with intraday calls, right, as the market moves up. And if I get a runner, like I got a couple runners on the upside today, that just hedges off the whole cost of the put, right? And then, I'm still losing value on the put, but I haven't lost any capital, right? So try to do that if your position's moving against you. Just buy the opposing position and ride it out until and then you can cut and re-enter, right? And you can shave off risk. Yeah, small cap value is kind of interesting. It's a small part of the Russell 2K and a very small part of breadth, but I do expect that small cap value will perform better and better as recession fears increase, right? Small cap and cash flows really tend to benefit from a pullback in the broader economy and growth. Is there a part where you think that this can be the top area? I mean, the amount of money they have to keep pumping is an unknown, right? So, I mean, I think they kind of blew out a lot of the liquidity today and we dropped, right? Which, we kind of dropped into the end of the day. We might drop even more tomorrow, but for anything to really turn bearish, we still need to lose those key levels. You have to assume that their capital is unlimited because you can't really make any other accurate assumption. Is there a part of you that thinks this can be the top area? I didn't think we would break above last week's range, but here we are. I can't imagine 4,600. I can't without a more significant pullback because liquidity needs to come in. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think if we get a pullback, there's a very good chance that we stabilize, above gamma neutral, and then, more call interest comes back in and, put selling readjusts and we get another pump into the beginning of December. I do think we're way overdue for a correction and some mean reversion. And the price going up's not really going to change my opinion of that, right? It just kind of reinforces that opinion. Why would it be the top? Well, there's nothing left. Like, and we're kind of running into this every day we move up, right? And we didn't really move up last week. We closed last week pretty flat with the exception of the move on the CPI data, right? Like that was really the only market moving event last week. The rest of the week just traded flat. Yeah, there's still not and like today's data didn't bring a lot more liquidity to bear, right? We squeezed out some short calls, but it's not like there was enough liquidity for us to just pump all the way up to like 45.75 or 4,600. When Moody's downgrade, I don't know. I mean, the fucking Congress kicked the can again. Maybe they're just waiting for Yellen to issue enough debt and our GDP to debt ratio to get worse. They sure as shit didn't lift their warning after Congress kicked the can, right? All right, guys. I think that's enough for today. I'll have the write out up. I'll try to get it out a little earlier for those that complain. But sometimes I like to wait out the Asian markets because I can get a more accurate picture of what's going to be, affecting vol and the dollar and yields in the overnight session. And so I hold off doing the write-up until like 2 or 3 a.m. So check it in the morning. Don't worry about checking it at night. Just check it before you start trading for the day, right? So you have an idea. And then I post an update in pre-market too, so you know what, like kind of like the chain structure looks like going into the trading session, right? Because that does shift around. The bigger piles of interest generally don't. Can you make it easy for regards to read? I had trouble last time. I try to do my best. I mean, I can tell you one thing that's pretty easy to use, right? And that's this, right? If I put this up every night, and these are like our key buy sell levels. I try to factor in CTA positioning when I make these, and where I can't, I use historical and technical analysis because I don't have all the futures market data in the world. But I mean, I can tell you that if you buy long on the test of the bull confirm, like you're gonna make money, right? And you set your stop. If you buy on the downside test of that level, right, you're gonna make money. Like I mean, these lines are pretty easy to use, and frequently they stay roughly in the same range as we trade through a week, unless we move significantly. But I mean, when you're in a neutral range, you can short strangle, right, and then you can cut the loser, or you can long strangle. You can sell condors outside the confirms, right? Like there's all kinds of stuff you can do just playing around with this. And so, I mean, use that as like a reference, like an understanding. Like today, we did not fail the bull signal, right? That's your indication that shit's not bearish yet. This is where we need to get for things to be bearish. This is where we are. Now, if you want to like make a center point there and you want to take a really risky put at like the breakdown of, like 4,500, right? Or well, I guess it's like 4,510, right? And then you could add to it here, set a stop. And then if it continues, you can add to it again, right? Wait for the bear confirm test, move all your stops up, right? And then if it bounces, you get stopped out and you make a bunch of money. If it continues, you just keep making more money, right? And then you can add again, test, stop, right? And you just level by level, right? All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Later.